Greetings, everyone. Well, it's closer look time again on the Multimedia Chronicles. Today, I thought we'd take a look at the Rockford Files, which, as you know, I recently picked up on Blu-ray, and I've also got the two movie collections. When Mill Creek got the rights to do the show on DVD and Blu-ray, they did not get the rights for the post-series movie. So as soon as I heard that this set was coming out, I immediately went to Amazon and ordered the two movie sets because I had a feeling they were going to go out of print pretty quick. And I think they have, actually. So if you want them, get them quick while you can. So anyway, I thought we'd take a few minutes and take a look at the Blu-ray set that Mill Creek put out and what's on the two movie collections today on a closer look on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. So, the Rockford Files. The first I remember seeing it was actually when I was a kid. My parents used to watch it quite a bit. And, of course, as a kid, I was just into sci-fi and cartoons and superheroes and didn't have any interest in any of this crime drama and private eye stuff. But I would watch bits and pieces of episodes with them. And, it seemed okay, for what it was. Just wasn't really my cup of tea at the time. And then later on, many, many moons later, when I think it was when I was living in Selkirk, actually, in the late 80s, early 90s, A&E started showing repeats of a lot of old cop shows. And one of the ones that they were showing was the Rockford Files. So I caught a whole bunch of episodes in the repeats, and I just fell in love with it. I thought, wow, this is such a great show. Like, how have I not watched this more before now? And then a few years later, well, many years later, DVD came along, and Universal put out season sets of all 6 seasons. I had the first 4, I think. I never got around to watching all of them, but I remember it was during the time when Universal had the old double-sided dual-layer flipper discs, which often had playback problems. So, yeah, the first couple seasons, I think, were the flipper discs, and then from there, they had moved on to just single-sided discs because of all the consumer complaints about the double-sided discs. And then later, they put out a complete series set on DVD, which had everything reauthored to single-sided discs that were previously double-sided. And I kept meaning to get that, and just kept putting it off. And then finally, Mill Creek announced that they were re-releasing the series, and I thought, oh, Mill Creek's going to put out it good. It's going to be even cheaper. And then they further announced that they were also putting it out on Blu-ray. I'm like, Blu-ray? Rockford in high definition? Awesome. So I'd actually put off getting that set for quite a while. I don't know why I kept putting it off. But anyway, finally pulled the trigger on it this past Black Friday week. I don't think it was actually on sale. It was just like the regular price. But the stock seemed to be dwindling, so my concern is that it's going out of print, and I wanted to make sure that I got it. So I snagged it on Black Friday, and then of course I already had the 2 movie sets. When Mill Creek announced that they were doing the series, they said that they made sure everyone was clear up front that they did not have the rights to the post-series movies. It was not included in their deal. So I ran out and got the movie sets as soon as I saw that announcement, with the intent of picking up the Blu-ray set later. Now, the original Universal season sets did have some extras on them. They had some interviews with James Garner and stuff. That's the one thing that's missing from this edition, is it's strictly a bare bones set. But, I mean, the trade-off is get the interviews on the old season sets or get the series in high definition. I mean, I'll always go for high definition. And you can find most of those interviews online, like on YouTube and stuff anyway. So I wasn't too concerned about that. So, let's head on down to the black box and check out the Rockford Files Blu-ray complete series set and the 2 movie sets. Okay, here we go. Boy, I was so thrilled when I found out this was coming, because I remember thinking back when I had the DVD season sets and was getting into Blu-ray, like, man, this is an old enough show. I bet they have all the film prints for this. I would love to see this on Blu-ray. And here it is. I'm holding it in my hand. It's awesome. I just love getting these old shows on Blu-ray. You just see so much more than you ever saw, even in the best, clearest TV broadcast. There we go. So this is all 6 seasons. Much like other Universal sets that Mill Creek has released, this is bare bones. It doesn't have any extras. But I think I mentioned that before anyway. But just to reiterate. But most of the extras, I mean, they were interviews with James Garner and stuff, and I have found them lurking around YouTube. So if you search around a bit, you should be able to find them and see what they were. So, of course, it's just, like all the other sets, it's just a simple cardboard box, fairly flimsy, that houses these 6 keep cases. So, just before we get into the Blu-rays here, I'll just quickly show you. Mill Creek did put out the first 2 seasons on DVD as well. And we'll just take a quick look at those. So here's season 1. I actually really like the cover art on these. I think they did a great job. And then here's season 2. And there you go. And one of the reasons I show you those is because the artwork is actually different on the Blu-rays, which is interesting because some of their other sets that they've done Blu-ray and season sets of, the artwork is the same on both. It's just, different size, obviously, for the different size of case of DVD and Blu-ray. So there you go. This is great. I powered through most of the first season of this as soon as I got the Blu-ray set. I just absolutely loved it. But I've always been a big fan of this show, like for years and years. Well, not when I was a little kid and my parents used to watch it, but obviously now in my more discerning adult years, I really enjoy this show a lot. I think it's great. I think it's one of the best sort of private eye shows ever. Great stuff. Actually, I got to say, really nice package design on these. Like, I really like the style of artwork and everything. So basically, nothing much in terms of the disc art here. It's just the picture of Rockford from the cover put onto the discs. And like the other Universal TV show sets that they put out on Blu-ray, it's 4 discs per season and stacked on a double disc keep case, basically. So, yeah. That's that. And then season 3. Very nice. And there. I don't know why I'm showing you the spines. I already showed you the spines like twice. There you go. Yeah, this show for me is very easily marathonable. Like I'll pop a disc in and I'll sit down and I'll watch the entire disc. Just kind of watch it as I'm doing other things, It's great. Great stuff. But James Garner was always just sort of one of those actors who was just so likable in all the roles that he played. I mean, of course, the other big one he was in was Maverick, which was pretty popular as well. And I also have a couple of movies he did. He did some westerns and stuff as well. But one in particular I have was Support Your Local Sheriff. And then its sequel, Support Your Local Gunfighter, which was kind of a parody of the popular spaghetti westerns and stuff at the time. Kind of made fun of some of the tropes of westerns and such. And just like this one actually kind of makes fun of some of the tropes of private eye stories, actually. How, Rockford always seems to be the butt of every joke and gets the tar beat out of him constantly and often gets stiffed by his clients. And, yeah, it's just... he's just sort of I like to say, the lovable loser type of character, Like, he's a very personable guy. He's a very smart guy, but for whatever reason, things just don't go his way very often. And maybe that's why I like him so much. I can relate to the constant fail. So that's it for the Mill Creek set. So quite nice. Quite a nice collection indeed. I definitely suggest grabbing this ASAP if you haven't already, because they seem to be coming in and out of stock. It makes me concerned that they may be going out of print. So then, of course, as I mentioned, part of Mill Creek's deal with Universal was only for the series, not for the post-series movies. So if you want your Rockford Files collection to be truly complete, you want to get these as well. Now, these I can confirm are out of print. I basically grabbed them the second I heard the Blu-ray set was announced that the movies are not part of the deal, and did not want to miss out on them. So, so they were released in 2 sets. I think there was 8 movies total that they did basically in the 80s and 90s. And they are a direct continuation from the end of the series. So it's 2 dual-layer discs, nothing too fancy. Basically just have 2 movies per disc. No interior art there to speak of. And then there's the second set with the last 4 movies on it. And there you go. And once again, same thing, 2 dual layer discs. Oh, same color this time for both discs, containing both movies. Now, just for the sake of completion, here's a look at the original Universal season sets. So this is the 6 season sets that they put out. I had, I think, the first 4 of them originally. And I remember the first couple of seasons were those good old double-sided dual-layer discs that everybody hates. And then I think season 3 or 4 they started doing single-sided. They finally listened to consumers and stopped using those double-sided discs, and started putting everything on single-sided discs. So that's the 6 season sets. Not bad, honestly. In total honesty, I actually prefer the covers on the Mill Creek sets. I think Mill Creek did a better cover design. These Universal ones just kind of look like Photoshop jobs, like taking a publicity shot of James Garner and slapping it on top of a background, and it just doesn't look as polished. Whereas the Mill Creek ones, they actually seem to have put some thought into the visual design of them and whatnot. So then, as Universal did with a lot of their TV show sets, they eventually released a complete series set of Rockford, which I had my eye on forever and kept waffling about getting. And one of the big selling points for me was that all of the formerly double-sided discs from the earlier seasons had been reauthored onto single-sided discs. So this set and all subsequent DVD sets that Universal put out, they were all single-sided, so no more playback problems. Everything was fine. It just meant a few more discs in the set. But this was a really nice set. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, the packaging was really nice. It was very slick and would definitely look good on your shelf. But yeah, that's it. So this set is now out of print. It's basically been replaced by Mill Creek's set. So on the plus side, that saves you some money for I mean, for about what it would cost or less than what it would have cost for this old DVD set, you can now get the Blu-ray set. So can't complain too much about that. So one final look here before we head back to the chair, and there you go. Let's do it this way because that's where the light is. There, that's better. So there we go. So we got the entire Rockford saga here. So we have the complete series and all 8 post-series movies. So good stuff. Pick them up, enjoy, thank me later. Oh, crumbs. One significant thing I forgot to show you about the Mill Creek box. On the bottom, we got Rockford's business card. How cool is that? And there you go. So, yeah, if you like your private eye stories with a lot of car action and a hero who doesn't always win in the end, but does so with a lot of humor and personality along the way, Rockford Files is a great series. I'll tell you something, actually. There's a series of novels that came out throughout the 60s and 70s and through till the early 80s, written by John D. MacDonald, who was a huge, famous mystery author. He actually wrote the original novel that Cape Fear was based on, just to give you something that you might be familiar with. But where I mostly know John D. MacDonald from is a series he did featuring a character called Travis McGee. And Travis McGee was very similar to Rockford. In fact, I think to the point where I think Rockford may have been partly inspired by Travis McGee because it has a very similar vibe to it. So I mention it because if you like the Rockford Files, you might want to check out the Travis McGee novels by John D. MacDonald as well, because it's a very similar kind of character and a very similar kind of story. Now, in the case of Travis McGee, he would take on cases. He was kind of a last resort private eye, and he lived on a houseboat in the Florida Keys and stuff like this. It's very similar to Rockford, how he lives on a trailer, with his dad and stuff like that. But with Travis McGee, he lived on a houseboat in the Florida Keys, and he would take on cases as a last resort, essentially, where you've exhausted all other options. And typically it would be cases where someone had lost something and wanted it recovered, or something was stolen from them and they wanted it recovered. And what his fee would be half the value of whatever it was. So that's why he was kind of a last resort. It's like, well, something is better than nothing. I'll get it back for you, but it's going to cost you half of whatever it's worth. Now, the main difference here is Rockford. In Rockford's case, he takes on cases that have already been investigated by the police and are closed. So closed cases only. That's what he specializes in. If it's still open with the police, he doesn't touch it. But then his fee is a little bit different. It's $200 a day plus expenses, and then and then sometimes they'll offer a portion of the value of whatever it is he's recovering if there's a value there. But the funny thing about Rockford versus Travis McGee is Travis McGee usually gets whatever he's after and usually gets paid by the end, whereas Rockford, half the time, he doesn't even get paid. Like, he goes through all this trouble and solves the mystery and just ends up getting stiffed in the end. It's like the poor guy just can't win, and he's trying to make his, trying to pay his bills and just live, and he takes on all these ridiculously dangerous. He gets his ass kicked more often than anything else, and it's just a lot of fun. He's just kind of the lovable private eye that just can't catch a break, So I say there is a very similar vibe to Travis McGee, but there's also a lot of differences as well. But I mention it because of what I feel is a similar inspiration. I'm pretty sure it's never been directly said, but I'd be very surprised if that wasn't the case, because they do have a very similar vibe. And I think if you like one, you'll probably enjoy the other. Travis McGee, they did, John D. MacDonald did a total of 21 novels, and they've come in and out of print over the years. If you hit your used bookstores, you can probably find a few of them, or if you go on Amazon, you can probably find some as well. Definitely a fun read, very fast reads too. They're very gripping and good page turners, and a lot of fun, so enjoy. So there you go, little bonus book review for you. Alrighty, well, that is it from me to you for now, folks. Hope you enjoyed this week's Closer Look. We'll see you next time for another one. So if you want to add any of these to your collection, please consider using my Amazon link. You'll find it in the description below. And be sure to catch me on Twitch. I stream just about every day, and you can actually watch me making my videos and chit-chat with me as I do so. And, so thank you very much for watching. Big thanks to my Patreon sponsors, and I'll see you next time. Until then, sayonara.